Okay, so the first lab that we will do is the environment preparation in some first programs. You can see that you need to install the G2SE, okay, and a program text editor. In this course, in this lab, you don't use the IDE like Eclipse or NetBeans, because I want to ask you to practice with command line compile and execute a Java program, okay? So you can use a notepad or any programming text editor. And you can install the Java SDK 8. And follow the step that already you guide very carefully here. You can check if you already install or not. You can download the Oracle, the install and configure it. With that. Yeah, very detailed instructions. I think you can do it. And then you verified if the Java compile works or not using the command. That is the first one. Is that you install the environment, the Java SDK. So after you install the Java SDK, you will have the runtime environment. You will have the Java API. You will have the compiler. You will have the debugger and other things to develop a Java program. Okay. And the second thing is you can use a text editor. So you can use any text editor like Notepad, even Notepad, the simplest one. Or in this lab, you can. My suggestion is you can use the Visual Studio Code. Okay, you can install it as the instruction is very easy things. So that is the environment. That two things: the Java SDK and the text editor. Okay. So now you will write some first programs with Java. So you should write your first program. Always hello world, like Linux. When Linus, who is the inventor of Linux, say hello to introduce a new operating system. So when you try your first Java program, please write a hello world. That is the simplest one. And try to run it, to execute, to compile, and then execute. Okay, using the command line, not the IDE. Okay. So the first program here, public class hello world. So we have the class name hello world, and inside that class we have the main method. It's like the entry point like the main in C, also the same thing. So when we run that file, it will go to the main to run the statement inside the main. The same thing. The syntax of Java is really like the C. So only something like I think the coding convention maybe some different. For example, C, the brackets, the brackets should be entered to the new line, but the Java coding convention they prefer to put at the end of the line, this line. So we have a block. We have a block inside that. I think the syntax is the same as C, so it's not very. I think you don't have anything new thing, right? And only one point. The public class name should be the same file name. Okay, so you have the class Hello World. That means this class should be put in a file named Hello World, the same exactly with the uppercase, with the sensitive case. And .java in the file name Hello World.java, exactly the name as the class name. Okay. And then you will compile the Hello World.java using the Java C. Okay, Hello World.java. After this command, if there is an error, it will print the error in the command line. If it's okay, nothing print here. You check in the folder, include the Hello World.java file. It will generate another file, a new file, Hello World.class. Check it. And then you will interpret and run using the Java Hello World. That means it will interpret and run the Hello World.class, but you don't need to specify the .class here. And the Hello World will print the Hello World here as the result. That's just very simple. I just want to say about the process, but for the knowledge, I think there's nothing new to you about the statements or other things, right? Maybe something is a little different is the print of the Java is something like complicated, more complicated than C, right? System.out.println. Because Java is like a pure object-oriented programming, so all the behavior should be belongs to an object. So that's why it's something like a little complicated. So that is the object of the class system. So you call the behavior, you send a message to the object out. The out is the standard output of your computer. The standard output normally is the screen. You can change the output standard output, maybe to file or other output device, but by default it is the screen. So that's why when you say system.out.println, it will print to the screen. Okay. But I will give you a very general information about the static. Static part is the part that belongs to the class, not belong to the object. It means that if it's not static, if a property belongs to the object, for example, each time you have to create an object from the class, you will have a copy of the properties of that means the object will have a separate copy of the property. So it will, if you change the property of that object, it will not affect to that property of another object. So that is not static. Okay. Static means a part of all the static property will be shared to all the objects. If a static property is changed by this object, it will affect to that property of another object. Okay, so the static parties belong to the class. The static part belong to the class, and here What do you think about the who will call the main? Who? The JVM, right? Java Virtual Machine. Java Virtual Machine will call the main, and it doesn't create any object. You need to make the main static because the JVM, Java Virtual Machine, will not create the object of the hello world, but it can still call the main function, main method here. Because it's static, that is a part of class, so the static part belongs to class, so you don't need to create the object, but you can still access the static part. Understand? So the JVM doesn't need to create an object of the class hello world, but still can call the main method. So that's why we put it static. Okay. Okay, so I will say you the second application, second program that is a dialog, that is a UI. You can say that is a command line program. That means you print to the command line, right? But the second program is the first dialog. That means that is a GUI. GUI, that means a program with the visual component, like a dialog, a button, dialog buttons, text field, or checkbox, or list box, or list, option pane, many visual components in a Windows. Okay, so we call GUI, graphical user interface, compared to the command line. Command line is only in the command prompt or terminal, right? So in this first dialog, you will still have the main method, and you will use the Java API. Java API here, you can see that it belongs to Java x.swing.j option pane. You can see in this Java API that is a class, J option pane, and that is a package. The package here, like in C, you have the header, right? Include something. So import is something like include. That is a package, and package like the folder. Okay, the folder Java X. I will tell you later about the package more detail later, but now I just have some very quick explanation. The folder Java X include the folder swing and sort of thing. We will have the JSON pane class. And then you will send a message to the class JSON pane, so message dialog. And so message dialog also the static one. Because you don't need to create an object, you can still call you can send a message to a class. That means that is a static method. So you can see here, new window message dialog, and no, that is the window, the parent window. Okay, the parent window of the dialog. You don't have any parent window, so you put no, I mean empty, and the message you want to display. And here you have the system.exit. Oh. And before we don't have, right? So the same, if you want to exit the program, 0 is the error code, that is zero, that means successfully, and different from 0, that's it. The error code corresponding to the error code. So you will compile and run it. Yeah, you don't have any result. I will show you the result. Where is it? Okay, so you can see the result here of that dialog is a dialog, right? Dialog. So you put the node for the Windows parent window and the message xin chào bạn. And here's it. It will be xin chào bạn. That's the dialog only. Dialog is one visual component of the GUI. So this is a very simple GUI application. Okay. That is a more complicated GUI application that you also give some input and get and show some result. For example, here, J option pane show input dialog with the message, and then you show the message dialog with the result that the user enters. So first of all, an input dialog will be shown with the message. Hãy nhập tên bạn here and with a text field because it's an input dialog. So you can enter your name here, okay? And then it will show a dialog, another dialog, okay? With the message xin chào, with the result that you enter. So it's also a simple one. Okay. You will see, in a hands-on lab, you will have some exercise, but with the instruction, right? With a sample code. But then you would have some exercise. Something that's more complicated than the example one, that asks you to write a program to calculate the sum, difference, product, and quotient of two double numbers we got entered by users, okay? And I have some hint for you. For example, to convert from string to double, you need to, you can use the Java API like double dot, parse double, like that. That is the program that you need to do by yourself, okay? And another one is to do the first degree equation, linear equation with one variable. That is, you need to solve that. When the user enter the values of A and B, you need to show the result, the output, the variable. And the same, the first degree equation, but with two variables, like that. Some suggestion for you to calculate, okay? And the second degree equation, one variable. So you have three exercise, two, right? 2.2.5 and 2.2.6 that you do maybe you're at home, and all of the source code, including for the first Java application. So from 2.2.1 to 2.2.6. Yeah. So 6 exercise with some three exercise, four exercise. Yeah, 4 with sample code, but you still need to include it in the repository, in the Bitbucket. So what you need to do now is to do all the exercise and submit to the Bitbucket, okay? And after you create that repository, please ask me as the member in your repository. The first lab should be used using a text editor only, and you need to use the command line.
2.3.
In line 6.
In result equal J option.
3. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah. The show input dialog have only please enter your name, and in 2.2.4 it says also please input. Like if I just have please input the first number in 2.2.4, but without the input the first number, is it okay? And
okay, good question.
What is the difference?
Okay, good. I will tell you how to do. When you want to show something, for example, this class with the message, so you dialog like that. Now there is some example, but you can open the Java docs, that is the document of the program of the Java API of the Oracle. The first link, not the first or the second. The first or second is something like the introduction about that in some example. But if you want to see the original help from Oracle, you can go to the Oracle site here. So I can see the all thing about the JOption print class. It's in the Java X-Wing package, and there are several methods of the JOption print. And what you use here is show input dialog, right? Prompt some input. And you can go to there are some properties, some constructor you learn later. Method here. So we go to, you can search, or you can try to write. So that is show, right? Show input dialog. Okay, good. You can see here the same name, so show input dialog, but many different methods, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the one that you see only one parameters here, they have, right? And the one with 2 parameters here also. So in fact, it exists in the JOption print class several show input dialog method, and with different parameters, right? You can go to each method to see what different. Okay, so if you only have one parameter, that is a message that we want to show to the user, okay? And the dialog is a default frame, which is mean center of the screen. So you don't, but with the two, I think it's okay here. Oh no, sorry, I check again. In 2.2.3, that is only one parameter, right? In 2.2.4, there are 2 parameters, 3 parameters. The null, that is the parent Windows. The second one is the 4 parameters, right? The first one, null, is, you go to the 2.2.4, please, and see the JOption paint.show input dialog with the 4 parameter. Null is the Windows, parent Windows, and the second one is a message. Please input the first number, and the third parameter is the title of the dialog, and the fourth one is a type dialog. Okay, I check again the specification. You see here 4 parameters, right? 4 parameters here. Oh no, this is the icon. The 4 parameters, I check. Of course, why it's so in 10 minutes. So I search, so Okay, so you see here, you have four parameters. First one is parent component, the second one is message, the third one is title, the fourth one is option type. 4 parameters, so that is that. Let's confirm, sorry. Input here, parent component, message, title, and message type. So for here, you go here. So you will have 4 parameters. That the first one is the parent, the second one is the message to display, title of the dialog type, title bar, and that is message type. Message type could be error message, information message, warning message, question message, and play message. You can trace the message type to see what happened. Okay, so if I think I have one slide for you here. If you put to the error message, so the icon here is like error message. It's a yes no question, but it's a question. So the icon is the question here. So you see, none is the parent window. That is a message. The message here, and that is a title here. And just no option, that is the button and the icon. That is an arrow, so that is arrow icon with OK button. Just no option, that's yes, no button, and with the question icon here. Okay? So you can search any Java API in the Google, so you can discover many things. Okay? And we still have some time. I want to, if you are not very confident with Git in Bitbucket, I can share something for you for that. You can see here. I will share you some tutorial of Git and Bitbucket. And some common scenario and comments. You can go to the Bitbucket to create account Bitbucket. You create a private. Note that it's a private, because I don't want you to share to anybody, because that is your own. And if you have like a copy of another one, so all of the participators will be scored as 0. So note that is a private, okay? With that naming convention and student ID, student name, okay? Add me. Okay, as the member of the repository. And you should learn your Git Bitbucket if you don't if you don't book it before. And normally you will do something like clone a repository, create a branch, commit and push, pull. That's some common activities. Okay, but now I would like you to, it's very easy with its technical things. So what I want to tell you here is about the Git, the version control model. It's more important. So I don't know why it's 31. Well, what about others? Before that, there are 40, right? 40, 42. Somebody cannot join? No, they already joined. Okay, so I will. Yeah. You can see my slide, right? I want to show you about the version control, but very quickly because my slides more than anything to say, but I will say submitting. So version control is very important, even if you do it alone. Okay, if you work in groups, there's some reason why you should use the version control. If you work alone, you change just one thing and your program breaks, you change it back, but it's still broken. So why? So that's one thing here is not only do some typing or delete something, but you will do maybe multiple of activities to maybe to improve an algorithm or to implement a feature. So many things, not one thing here is the result, but not the activities. You need to do many activities to complete one thing, just one thing. So if you want to roll back, it's normally not easy, right? And if you work with your partners in your team, you change something, your coworker changes another part, and you put them together, but it doesn't work. So why? Because maybe there's some conflict of your change to your coworker or vice versa. So you need to do like with your teamwork or even with alone, you still need some tool for you to control your version of the source code, okay? So, but you can use some separate tools, but it's like a separate thing and not a complete system to manage everything. So it's necessary to have the version control system, okay? You can keep multiple versions of everything, not just source code. Maybe your resource, like the model, the files, the image, multimedia files, for example. And you can request comments every change. When you change, you need to say, oh, what you change, or what the purpose of the change, for example, so that you can follow that comment to know why you change that. Allow check in, check out the file so that you know that someone else working on and display the difference between version or difference of the version of your file and of you or the version of your friend, your coworker, for example. So you can do some like compare and merge. Okay. So we have different type of versioning model. The version control versioning is very important. So there are in fact, the two type models. Yeah, lock, modify, lock, copy, modify, merge. So when I was a student, I use that model. So that is lock, modify, unlock. If we have two people working in the same resource, so we need to check out to get the local copy, right? And then if one member want to modify the resource, like if Andy want to edit, Andy will lock the file and modify it. If Bobby want to edit that resource, she need to wait, okay? So we say lock, modify, unlock. So need to wait until Andy complete the edit and the modification and commit the modification, okay? After he commit, he will unlock the file. And now Andy will get the last version and edit that version. So she also have a lock on that. She want to. Okay, so the advantage of the first model lock, modify, unlock is the conflict. You will not have any conflict, right? If two members want to modify the same resource, only one can edit and submit to the repository, and then the second one will get that version and make the modification on the last version. So you cannot have the conflict. Okay. For the first model, lock whatever unlock, the model can ensure that there is no conflict, because it will not allow two members currently modify a resource. Understand? So the conflict is control, not to be appear. Okay. But the disadvantage that you already say that a member need to wait when they want to change. Need to wait. Maybe what she want to edit is not related to what Andy want to edit. So still need to wait, right? So still like waste of time, and the performance of working is not good. Need to wait. Sometimes Andy forget to unlock the result. Oh, but we need to wait. So the performance of the working, the efficiency is not good, and the boss don't want to. That is the biggest disadvantage of that model. But it has an advantage, right? It's simple model, right? You are right.
Oh, why?
What? Somebody say anything? Okay, so we go to the second one, the copy, modify, merge. So now you are using this model. Me, when I was a student, I used the first model, but now you go to the more advanced model, that is copy, modify, merge. So both, if you want to check out, and they can modify a resource at the same time. Okay. And then one member commit first, and the second one after modification he want to commit, but he cannot commit, right? He cannot commit because the version that Andy has before the modification and the version in the repository is different. So that is saying like local conflict. Okay. So he need to merge to get the last version of the repository and merge with his version. Okay, we say update, and then he commit to the repository, the version of both. Okay, so in this model, they allowed 2 or more than 2 people, members, can't modify at the same time. Okay, so it will help you to work faster. You don't need to wait anybody to do something, right? But the thing here is you need to control the conflict. Okay, so you need to control the conflict. So the one who commit the letter should need to merge, right? So you see, no model is perfect. So it still have some disadvantage, but so we need to do the trade-off. I want to see you trade-off, and this model is more advanced because it will help you to do the programming faster, and you don't need to wait or depends on others. Okay, that is two main model, but still we need to have the architecture of the version control system. We call like central version control and distributed version control. Okay, the central version control that you have only one common repository. Okay, and each member has a working copy, and it can commit, update, like this. What do you think? Do you think that Git is central version control or distributed, centralized or distributed? What do you think? Okay, so we go to distributed version control. So before we go to distributed, what is the advantage and disadvantage of the centralized version control? What is the disadvantage? Is disadvantage of the centralized? Quick. Any idea? Of you asleep? Of you sleep now? Yes, email. Okay. I'm trying to find a video. Where is it? Why? When the update start will be kind of messy. Why? Mess up. No update. Update is only one person can update one time. Sorry, we are now 21st. So distributed version control, that is a Git Mercurial. Good. So what is the disadvantage of the centralized? You see here the difference. The centralized that only working copy commit directly to the commons repository. Whereas the distributed version control, you can see we have the remote repository and local repository. Okay, and the local repository in the workstation of each member. You can see here, and so the member can commit update to their local repository, and then from the local repository to the remote repository, we can use the push or pull. Some terminology: commit, update, push, pull. You need to understand and distinguish clearly. You commit to the local repository, but you push from the local repository to the remote repository. Okay? So with the distributed version control, you don't need to have the internet to connect to the remote repository. You can still commit to your local repository. So it's very quickly. You don't need to have a network, right? The second thing is, every time you want to commit, maybe that commit version is not a complete code. It still has some bug, or not bug, but it's not full full implementation of a feature. Maybe you are doing like a half of it, but you still need to commit because you are now finished your. You want to come back home now, or you want to sleep now. You cannot complete the feature now, but you still want to commit the code to the repository. But if you do that to the remote repository like this, it will maybe affect to others, right? But if with this version, you can commit anytime you want because it's your repository. It's not affect to others, okay? And the third thing is, every time you update, you need to merge from others. So it's very painful. In the video say painful because maybe you need to update many times. Anytime you update, you need to merge. But if you, with your local repository, you don't need to merge from others. You need only to work with you. Every time commit, update, commit, commit. You don't need to merge, right? And when you implement a good one in your local repository, and then you want to push to the remote repository, now the time for you to push or pull. So the occurrence, the frequency that push or pull is much less than the frequency of commit or update. Understand? So the merge thing is very brief, very not very usual and not very frequently. So it's not take you times. Okay? Get it? Got it? Okay, good. So in the distributed version control, you see here, you need to clone from the remote repository to local repository. And then you can copy it locally when you edit in your local copy. Commit local. It's not affect to other members. And then when you finish a function, a feature, or an algorithm, anything, you can push from the local repository to the remote one. And then other need to, when they push their conflict, they need to pull them in fetch, get the last version and merge. And then they push the merged version to the remote repository, okay? And pull, that's all. That's some terminology and some activity that you do with distributed version control, and you are using the distributed version control with Git, okay? Thank you for attending today. Bye-bye.